The main problem in terms of condition is the very obvious one, that we've got a section missing here, lots of problems around the top generally, and a piece missing here. The other problem that's perhaps a bit less evident is that somehow it looks like moisture has got underneath the laminate. You can see the smeariness there. The ink's spread over here too. But it's not really that evident, and I think there's no easy way to deal with that. So in fact there's almost no way to deal with it short of removing the laminate, which would be definitely dodgy potentially and over ambitious. So I can live with that. Just need to do something about this problem here, and the rusty staples, of course, so they come out and be replaced. But yeah, that's the main problem, so we'll get on with that. And similarly on the back, basically the same problem on the other side. Well, I've split the book, removed the rusty staples, and I've just started by adding a strip of Kevlar paper under this part of the board. I had to peel back the cover paper just enough to get that properly secured. Having the book in pieces now, we can see where the water went in, but the damage is mostly limited to the inside of the pop-ups, which won't be seen when it's rebound. Now I'm just starting to put the two parts of the cover back together, so attaching the Kevlar to the front cover. And at this stage, before I go any further, the staples have to be replaced, and also this spine interior, it's not in good condition, so I just cut a piece of card to replace that. Rather than replace the rusty staples with staples that will later rust, I've sewn the two centre sections with bookbinder's thread, and then those sections will be glued to the sections that are fixed to the front and rear boards. I think that will give a pretty solid binding, but with enough flexibility for it to work okay. What I'm doing now is tearing and then gluing pieces of cartridge paper to fill the gaps. I started to glue this piece to the front board. It has to be glued in sections, first the front, then the spine, then the back, just to make sure that it doesn't slip in between. That's pretty much done there. Now I have to tuck under the ends and glue those, and then fill in the little gaps before starting to pencil in the lettering and applying some paint. You can also see the sort of problems here with this folding. It shouldn't be like that, so we have to address that problem. Over here as well, extra folds that shouldn't be there and just mean that the pop-up doesn't pop up properly. So things to do. This is an interesting one. I don't think it's ever popped up properly, because they should come out like this, those rockets. The other one over here. But because they folded here, I don't think that's probably ever happened. And similarly there was a fold here, which meant the whole thing didn't really pop up. And still doesn't, but I'm getting there slowly. What I've decided to do is place this 132 or 1mm ply, little strips across the places where basically there shouldn't be creases, because if you just do that with cardboard it will just fold in time. So it does mean that there's potential for slight marking etc. as it prints through, but the book doesn't get squashed that flat, so I think that's probably the best way forward. So I've done this one, that works, and another 2 or 3 of those to go, and then we'll see if it works. Well, all of the strengthening sections are now in place. So let's have a look. Yep. That's probably the first time that's actually popped up properly since very soon after the book was new. Good dimensionality there. And all the folds working properly. This section, I think it's the first time that's ever popped up. It's always flat. It didn't even seem to be separated properly. But it will need a little TLC each time that's folded down. The new spine is in there, not trimmed yet. Not completely closed because there was too much tension on the cover, which is presumably why it's split in the first place, so I've allowed a little bit of a gap which I'll paint in there. Just making a start now with the first coat of the blue acrylic. Well, I think I'll stop there. That's just about good enough.